Perfect. Welcome to Thursday, June the 8th. Goodness, in 10 days, I'll have a 25-year-old. That just feels weird. It just feels weird. I'm too young to have a 25-year-old. Not really. When I was 25, how old were you when your mom or dad was 25? So I think I would have been, see, my mom had me when she was 21, so she would have been 46 when I was 25, right? Wow. Sarah, you didn't see an email? Okay, but I might have sent it to the wrong address, or I would have gone to spam, but yeah, so it's just asking everyone to do a testimonial for me if you can. So, all right. Let's go. I wanted to continue a little bit from yesterday. And we talked yesterday. There was a series of questions that I asked. And I really want to continue with this series of questions. The questions that I shared with you yesterday, those are the ones that I used when I realized that I kept on having the same Groundhog Day. And the only way the outcome was going to change was if I asked these questions. And I really dug deep into this. To me, this was the beginning of my shadow work, right? Looking at myself with the utmost respect, but also with radical honesty. And the most profound questions were the following that I'm going to share with you today. And so the first question is, am I worthy of the greatness that I want for my life? Am I worthy of the greatness? And if worthy doesn't resonate with you, ask yourself, am I deserving? Am I deserving of the greatness that I want for my life? And what I want to do is I want you to ask, just to sit with this, right? To sit with this, because the very first flippant statement might be, well, of course I am. And there might be a deeper statement, or it might just be, yes, that you've never had this as a challenge in your life, or you've done the work already under the of deserving or worthy. Are you worthy? Do you feel that you're personally worthy of success and greatness? Do you personally feel that you deserve success and greatness? And you might even want to ask your body, right? Rather than ask your ego, get in touch with your soul, get in touch with your body, your intuition. And if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, you might prefer this question on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's so fucking epic, and 1 being I feel zero value, worthiness, or deservedness. What am I at? So you might ask the scale question and tap in and find that out, right? And so for those of you who've used pendulums or wands, you can use that to help you ask yourself. Because what you're really wanting to do is to see where what level you're at with that, and what work then, which would be a belief, what belief you have around that for you to explore, for you to unpack. Maybe you heard something as a child and you're at an unconscious level, you're still, I'll say, harboring it, like you're still feeling that way. Because remember, up until the age of 7, everything right in our brain, we just totally accept. We can't accept or reject. So we're just totally accepting of this. And so what does that look like? The next question is to ask yourself, are you worthy of wealth? Now you might want to also use the words, do I feel worthy of, of wealth, abundance, prosperity? And I again would tap into yourself at all 3 of those levels and ask yourself that same question, and do it at a level of 1 to 10. And then you can ask yourself, am I worthy, right? Or am I deserving of love? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do I feel? Am I deserving of love? And again, we don't want to answer with our brain, because your brain's going to tell you, for safety and security reasons, it's going to tell you that you absolutely 100% love yourself. Or that you absolutely 100% feel that you're worthy of success. The next question I want you to ask yourself is, are you worthy of self-expression? Right? Are you worthy of self-expression? Do you deserve to self-express? So how many times do you not say something because it's inappropriate, right? Or it might offend somebody, or it's you're not allowed to talk about it, right? Like when I was growing up, we were told to not talk about politics with people, sex, or religion, right? Because those are controversial subjects, and God forbid one rocks the boat, right? So in my household, you weren't allowed to like have an opinion that was different than anyone else's, so that you wouldn't rock the boat. You could have an opinion, just you couldn't express your opinion. Let me rephrase that. My mom and dad were all about keeping the peace, right? At great lengths and at a great cost, and they not know, they not knowing, and they still don't know the effects that had on my sister and I. Not their fault, right? That's how they were raised, right? And so in the self-expression realm, asking yourself if you're worthy of self-expression, do you deserve to self-express? The next question is to ask, what mask are you wearing, or what masks do you wear? And this is so huge, right? This is so huge that you take some time and think about the masks that you are currently wearing, or the masks that you wore in the past, right? Because if we don't feel that we can are worthy of self-expression, we'll portray to the outside world a different side, right? I remember when I was growing up, one of the things that I heard about my mom all the time was how intimidating she was. And I associated intimidating with being a bitch, right? And you know, when I was younger, that's really how I felt about my mom. I didn't like my mom, right? She was not a kind, she was, in my opinion, was not a kind woman. And so when my dad sobered up, she became less bitchy. She became less controlling, less crazy. But that imprint, right, of the thought patterns that I had of my family, of course, stayed. And then growing up, I worked at the hotel that my mom and dad owned. And I would hear people talk about my mom all the time, right? And how intimidating she was, right? And how demanding she was. And from a boss's perspective, my mom was demanding. There was protocols that we needed to, we needed to meet. So for example, when we worked at the front desk, we had to wear dresses, and there was no pants allowed, right? So it was, you worked at the front desk, you had to wear a dress or skirts. And my mom felt that was more professional. My mom felt it was more feminine, and that my mom felt that people responded better to women in dresses than in pants. Don't know where she got that. That was her belief. She might have even had data or proof around that. My mom was an avid reader, right, at that time. And I remember people, commenting about it. And lots of people when they first started working in the hotel had no idea that Donna and Claire, that's my mom and dad's name, were my parents, because I never called them mom and dad at work. I called them Donna and Claire at work. They were not my parents when I was at work, right? They were my boss. And so, excuse me, hang on for a second while I cough. Right back. All right. There's no such thing as a coincidence. You can't make this shit up. When I start talking about my parents, my throat gets all closed. And there is energy behind that. Do you feel that? All right. So anyhow, back to my story. My mom was deemed intimidating. And so when I got into my 20s and 30s, and the first time someone called me intimidating, I decided I wouldn't be intimidating. I didn't want to be a bitch because, again, remember, I had associated intimidating with being a bitch. And so the mask that I wore after that was to be this super duper over the top, bend over backwards, have no boundaries, kind. Actually, I would have said that time nice. Kindness and nice are different. Nice person. That was the mask that I had. And and someone who never got angry. And so I had this mask. Now, some of the masks that we carry can be, beautiful like that. Like, who doesn't want to be nice, or who doesn't want to be kind, or who doesn't want to, be known for, keeping the peace and never losing a temper. The truth is, it was a mask. That if I had a difficult time with something, I didn't allow it to surface. So I suppressed it and repressed it. And that's hard on one's physical body, right? Suppression and repression of emotions is actually what causes a lot of the dis-ease in somebody, right? And so in your body, your cells have memory. So the mask that I wore was portraying that this lovely, nice woman who would give the shirt off her back. And it was a mask. And part of it was truth. Part of it is I am super kind. And I would, for some time or some people, give like the shirt off my back. If I had one shirt left and someone needed it more than I would, that is part of my personality, but it's also a mask. So when you think about this, your expression, are you worthy of self-expression, and what masks are you wearing? And think about the masks that you wear at different times. Now, some people would call these roles as well. So you can look at what role do you play, or what roles are you playing, and who are you playing the roles with? What mask are you wearing? So my mask always in growing up in school was that there's nothing wrong. It's all good here, right? All good here. At 16 years old, I left home in September. I moved out of my house in actually, no, it was probably November. It's just after my 16th birthday. I left home on Saturday and I went to school on Monday, and no one knew that I left home. No one knew for about 3 months. And then I was in biology class, and I wasn't in biology class. I didn't go to biology class. And the next day I went to biology class, and the teacher asked me for a note. And I said, oh, I can't bring you a note, but I'll talk to you afterwards about it. And he said, well, no, I need a note right now. Like, you need to go get a note right now from your parents. And I was like, I can't get you a note right now, but I'll talk to you after class. And he's like, well, if you can't provide a note, then you know what happens, and you're gonna have to go to it made this really big deal, and I was embarrassed. So I wrote myself a note right in front of him. Ranchal was not in biology class due to sickness, and signed it. And he goes, you can't use this, you need your parents. And I said to him, I haven't lived at home for 3 months, right? And everyone was like, oh my God. And I share this story because, not for like, I don't want you to feel bad that I left home when I was 16. That's part of what I'm here to do, right? It was the mask. I wore a mask. Like, it was like, oh, like it's no big deal. Like, every 16-year-old leaves home. and right, and it wasn't meant to mean anything. When it did, it had huge fucking meaning. So that's what I'm talking about. What masks are you wearing, right? And self-expression is so important, right? How many times would you like to post something on Facebook as an example about your business, or something that you've, like an aha moment that you've had, on or even on LinkedIn, or Twitter. And I'm actually not going to add a caveat to that. That was my ego. Hang on, so let me get in touch here. You want to post something and you feel like you can't self-express, right? And I want to share with you that from 2020 to 2022, when people were expressing their opinions, right, on a wide variety of subjects during that time, publicly, there was a public outrage, there was a public outcry, right? And so what are the things that really get us uptight? Religion, politics, sex. And so that idea of we're not allowed to talk about it still seeps out today. And so where are you not self-expressing? And what your guides are asking you to do is to, can you allow yourself that? Can you self-express? Right. And it poses the question, and I believe it's poses a question because I believe that it is a real challenge right now, especially after what happened in 2020 to 2022, where you were right, could express your opinion and there was like civil war. And so, that's part of the propaganda of the control factor, right? And so what do I mean by that? Something I don't think I talk a lot about here with all of you is there's a theory out there in several different areas, or several different people or institutions, or that we are moving into what's called the Great Awakening in 2027, and was started in 2019 and all the way up to 2027. And so part of this Great Awakening is the awakening of consciousness. And so within the awakening of consciousness, what must happen is the destruction of all the institutions, everything that we know as truth and real, to have like the destruction. So literally think of the burning phoenix, right? And we're going through that area, right? Years right now of mass destruction of institutions. Okay? And it's nothing to fear, but to look forward to the opportunity of what the Great Awakening can mean, the awakening of consciousness could mean for us as a humanity, as a human being, as those visiting here on Earth, right, that aren't from Earth, the opportunity that's before us. And so I think part of this Great Awakening is the calling that we have for self-expression, knowing that there's something broken, right? And you can be part of the reconstruction of that. And that will come down to self-expression. And when we can self-express, when we give ourselves permission to self-express, our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-esteem, which for some people might all be the same thing, for others it's going to be different, it increases when you allow self-expression. The more you keep yourself hidden and stuffed, right? And don't say that might offend somebody, that might this. The more that we as society do that, the more the lack of self-expression, right? the more that we have this lack of self-expression, the tighter the control is, right? And so what would happen? Chaos and anarchy, maybe, if we all self-expressed. Do you imagine if you could say what you wanted to say, right? And didn't have to worry about repercussions. Or you could say what you wanted to say and you knew that if the repercussions happened, it was okay. Like that it was not a big deal. So if we think about the self-expression piece, and then the next question to ask is, do you feel like you're worthy of a great life? So I use the word epic. That was the word I used. What I asked myself this. I was like, am I worthy of an epic life? I was really surprised when the answer came that I didn't feel that I was worthy of an epic life. That was available to everybody else, but me. And so, as we go down to that, there's beliefs behind that, right? There's the beliefs, there's the values, there's the habits. And so for you, that question is, do you feel like you're worthy of an epic life or great life or fantastic life or whatever? And what would that epic life look like for you? And we visualize that. And then, of course, then we ask the questions of then what needs to shift within us? Who do we need to be? So it's not about necessarily, it's the doing it also is required. But the first question always will be, who do you need to be? Who do you believe that you need to be? And that's actually even maybe a greater question to ask yourself is, who do you believe you need to be? Because when I decided I wanted this epic life, there was a part of me that believed that I would need to be a bitch. I didn't know where that came from. It's like, well, I don't think I need to be a bitch to have an epic life, right? And I didn't spend any time in asking why, like where that came from. For some people, that might feel like in order to complete the thought process. But did I believe, right? Did I believe that I was worthy of an epic life? And who would I need to be in order to create that epic life? And so what does that look like for you? And where is that going? And that can be life, that can be, business, that can be love and everything, right? So there's more questions for you to ponder, right, today. And again, I encourage you to, take a few of them and listen to them, or just take the energy of the call, right, and just have it wash over you for the rest of the day. And it can feel a little unsettling, so don't judge, right? Don't judge yourself for the unsettled, and the energy around us is unsettled again today. There's just an unsettledness, right? One of my aha moments last on Sunday, I think it was, after the event, and I'm not sure if this is only because I'm a reflector, so I'm just, I guess, sharing something with you. But some of the things that happens with a reflector is, so in human design, you have your energy centers, and when they're all open or like not colored in, that's called an open center. And as a reflector, all of my centers are open. But as the transits go through the day, right, as the planets rotate and move, I become a different energy type throughout different days. So some days I'll be a projector, some days I'll be a manifester, some days I'll be a manifester generator. Some days I'll be a generator. And I think it's probably more so with being a reflector that this happens. But my aha moment that I wanted to share with you is that every day it's a possibility that I might feel something different, or feel something at a deeper level, or I feel, I'll just say different. And I used to judge that as I was losing ground, right? Like if I wasn't feeling like joy all the time, that I was doing something wrong and then I was losing ground. And what I'm guided to share with you is that all of us are affected by the planets, just where we may not know to the effect of the moon, right? We just may not know to what extent or what level. And so if you feel different, I'll use those words, on a regular basis, it's okay. It's okay if some days you have a great day and some days you have a confusing day and some days you have like an epic day and some days you have a shitty day. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not doing this shit wrong, right? It's just that's part of the right part of the energy of the world. Where as empaths, you're gonna feel the impact of people's energy. You're gonna feel the shift in the energy, and so there's nothing wrong, right? I just want to let you know that. So, all right, mwah. Have an epic day. Have an epic day. Love you all very much. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.